And with that, I will graciously introduce our guest for today. Ms. Jeannie Bahar is a professional engineer, a PE in civil, RSP2, FITE, and has more than 40 years of experience in traffic and road safety engineering. She currently serves as the president of Navigats, Inc. Ms. Bahar has been involved in the process of development of the RSP certification exam since the inception of this idea through her involvement in the Transportation Association of Canada's Road Safety Standing Committee. She has served in the RSP Steering Committee and in the RSP Subject Matter Expert Group developing the exams. She is now serving as an organization director on the Transportation Professional Certification Board. Jeannie, thank you so much for joining us today. And also, please clarify if I have mispronounced your name, because I want to be respectful of recognizing you in a good way. So thank you for joining us, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Josh. It's my pleasure
and
to
your
be here
audio
today.
isn't quite working right now. I know sometimes that the headsets get different settings on them.
Josh, I think it's okay on my end.
Okay, let me try again. How is that now?
I am not hearing you.
Josh, it's working good for us.
It could be on my end. Kayla, can you hear?
Yeah,
can you okay?
It's working for
perfect.
us.
It's on my end then. Thank you very much. Go over to you, Jeannie. Thanks.
I hope you can hear me at one point, Josh. Okay, so I will share my screen. Thank you again for inviting me to be here with you guys. Let's see that I can. I want to make sure that, can you see my screen?
Not yet, but we'll maybe just give it a moment for it to load.
It was working a minute ago, so I don't know. It's always a problem when you least expect.
Of course.
I do have your presentation open, Jeannie, so if you wanted to.
Okay, let's see.
You got it.
There you go.
Let me just make sure.
Is
it on presentation mode? And hopefully you can all hear me well. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, so again, thank you so much for inviting me to be here today and share with you guys the work that actually predated the launch of the Road Safety Professional Certification, but also all the advantages that we all now have when we decide to advance our careers through certification overall. And I will particularly talk about the 4 certifications that are offered by the Transportation Professional Certification Board. And I will then focus on the Road Safety Professional Certification. So you've been already given an overview about my career. And in particular, I think what I'm really very much proud of is the fact that the idea of the road safety profession designation was really born at the TAC Road Safety Committee almost 10 years ago, when we were talking in the committee how we should look into ways to formalize road safety skill sets, as well as to recognize road safety as a profession on its own. Together, we worked with then the TPCB and in Washington, and we were able to then get the sponsorship by various agencies, including the participation of Canadian and United States and US agencies. And as Josh mentioned, we were then a group of subject matter experts created from the 2 countries, and we are able to develop the work that is really needed in order to have the background for the certification and, of course, the exams themselves. Now, when I mentioned the Transportation Professional Certification Board, I want to just spend a moment to let us all know what board is supposed to be and what was the purpose when it was established in 1998. It was to really provide a mechanism to create and administer professional certification for those of us involved in the practice of transportation. Now, under the TPCB, there are, as I mentioned before, 4 certifications that are offered to us. The PTOE, which was the first one, the Professional Traffic Operations Engineer, and then followed by the Professional Transportation Planner, and more recently, the Road Safety Professional Level 1 and Level 2. Now, I would like to then just spend a couple minutes telling you about the PTOE. I imagine that several of you here in the call may already have a PTOE certification. It is for those of us that demonstrated their expertise in functional areas of traffic operations, as they are listed here. The PTOE was actually launched almost 22 years ago, and it is really important to know that there are some requirements for those that wish to take the exam, which is for this particular certification, you need to have a valid civil, mechanical, electrical, or general professional engineering license and 4 years of professional experience in relevant fields. The exam is administered online in licensed facilities around the world. And of course, every 3 years, we are required to renew our certifications by demonstrating that first, in this particular case of PTOE, that you still have a valid professional engineering license, and you have fulfilled the requirement for 45 professional development hours, PDH, for the 3 years prior to the renewing time. Now, when it comes to the PTP, it is really for those of us that have experience in transportation planning in areas of land use and transportation analysis and so on, as you can see listed here. And once again, there are some requirements for those that wish to take the exam, which is either a master or PhD in planning and transportation and 3 years work experience, a bachelor's or a bachelor's in planning and transportation 4 years, or in case you have none of those two, but you do have 5 years of relevant experience, you may be eligible to take the exam. As before, I mentioned there are really exam locations all over the world. And later on in my presentation, I'll share with you the locations where you can look for those licenses facilities in Alberta. Again, every 3 years, we need to renew them and demonstrate the 45 PDHs for the past 3 years. Finally, the Road Safety Professional Certification, I will start with Level 1. So this one was first offered in 2018, and it is for those of us that are really demonstrating proficiency in the foundations of road safety principles. But the purpose when we developed this particular certification is for a very broad audience of professionals. As you know, road safety is really a multidisciplinary discipline, multidisciplinary in the fact that those of us working in engineering, motor vehicle, behavioral, law enforcement, policy development, emergency response communities, public health, they all work in areas that are really important to be inclusive in the road safety professional certification. So any one of us that make decisions or take actions that potentially impact the safety of traveling public are those that this level 1 is geared for. Similar to PTOE and PTP, there are some requirements to take the exam. So when you fill the forms telling TPCB that you wish to take the exam, they're going to look for a bachelor degree and a 2-year experience in transportation, road safety, or public health. As you can see, the bachelor's degree does not require engineering, any bachelor degree. Important that you have 2 years of relevant experience or a 4-year experience without a degree. The exam is again offered in several facilities, and the content is very much applicable to both countries, USA and Canada. As I mentioned before, it was really work carried out by representatives of agencies in both countries. The certification needs to be renewed after 3 years, and this time is a demonstration of 24 PD ages for the past 3 years. Now, those of us that will have the certification for road safety professional level 1 can now apply to level 2, and I will talk about that in a little while. But before I get there, I want to just share with you the content outline of the domain for level 1. There are 5 modules or domains that they are listed here: the foundations for road safety, measuring safety, human behavior and road safety, solving safety problems, and implementing road safety programs. I have a website there and a link for those of you that want to get additional information. For example, if you go to that TPCB website, you will be able to look at the various tasks there are under each one of the 5 domains. They actually form the umbrella for the exam for level 1. So those of you that are now considering or preparing yourselves for the exam, is a very helpful idea to go to the website and look for those tasks under the domains. So you're going to have additional information of what type of knowledge we expect you have as you take the level 1 road safety professional exams. In that particular website, you're also going to see the reference materials that were used to develop the questions for the exams. So if you wish to review them, you'll be exposed to the content from which the 75 questions were actually written for the exam itself. Now, as I mentioned before, there is a second level for the road safety professional certification, and those have 2 specialties. So those of us that are working more, let's say, in public health, the behavioral side of road safety, and those of us that are working in engineering and other infrastructure specialties. It is geared for professionals whose primary job functions are directed at improving the safety performance of the surface transportation system. And again, as I mentioned, it's really for those could be in either one of those programs, but really focus in reducing the number of fatalities and injuries of road crashes. Requirements to the exam this time is a bachelor degree and now a 5-year experience, or if not without a degree, a 10-year experience. And as I mentioned before, you would have to be certified at the level 1 of road safety professional certification. Again, the renewal requirements are after 3 years, and this time you need to demonstrate 45 PD ages for the previous 3 years. Some of our colleagues have taken both exams in engineering and behavioral, and the board has decided for those that have both level 2 RSPs, they would have to show 60 PD ages for the past 3 years. Now, for this particular level, there are 8 domains, as you can see there: fundamentals, road safety management, acquiring and using safety data, crash prediction and trend interpretation, target crashes and countermeasures, multimodal transportation safety, addressing safety problems with policy, and safe system and vision zero. Once again, there is a link for where you would be able to see all the tasks as I showed you before for level 1. The same for each one of these domains for level 2. Similar to level 1, the reference materials that were used for the development of the 75 question exams are listed on the website. Some of them are here, and the idea is for anyone preparing themselves to take the exam for level 2, the same for infrastructure, and of course for the behavioral, there will be a list of reference materials so that you're able to get exposed to the content that may help you to prepare yourself for the exam. The behavioral, let me go back. The behavioral specialty has, in fact, I think there are 9 of those domains. And you will see that under all of those, again, there will be all the various tasks that will be available, and the information is given on the website. And of course, the references too. So now I would like to get to a question that I think several of you may have, which is why? Why should we get certified? And I remember very much this very specific aspect of it was so much discussed when it became the #1 priority at the TAC Road Safety Committee. We really see that it is so important for all of us that really want to be recognized as road safety professionals to be able to show a certification that actually allow us to say, oh, I am up to date in the knowledge, because we all know the road safety research is a continuous process. There is so much going on, and we really want to be up to date with the knowledge. By being certified, I can show you that I am up to date. I want to be recognized. After all, I would like to say that I am a road safety professional, but in fact, I am, for example, a civil engineer. How can I show that I am actually as well a road safety professional? So that recognition, it's certainly an important aspect of getting certified. It will certainly give you a competitive advantage. I will share with you in a few minutes what's actually happening out there when agencies are now actually putting out RFPs, as well as looking for professionals for new positions into the various public and private agencies. We have seen increases in pay and positions with those certified. Certainly, I think when it comes to the fact that it will demonstrate credibility, I'm not only saying and sharing with you that I work in road safety, I can actually show that I am certified in road safety. And of course, proves competency. Now, from the perspective of employers and the public, it is a way, as I will show to you in a moment, is a way to pre-screen candidates, either as employees or even consultants. Indicates professionalism for sure. Those of us that really want to show that we are professionals in road safety. Definitely will raise the industry bar, provide benchmark, and certainly increase public assurance of competency. Let me just share with you, these are some of the certifications being required or preferred on job postings. So some of these are in Florida, in California, in Arizona, etc. And of course, each one of them is waiting to get a certain group of people certified before it becomes a requirement or preference, desirable qualification. As the numbers are growing, more and more of those are coming along. For road safety professional, we already seen as being not only shown as an advantage in your qualification, but also a fact that some of those are offering to assist potential candidates to get their certification. So here we're seeing not only for public agencies, but also for private consulting. I would like to share with you actually a testimonial that I got from Krista Tanaka. Some of you may know her. She's the manager of traffic safety and mobility at the City of Ottawa. And Krista wrote to me that as a professional engineer working in the field of traffic and road safety for over 2 decades, I was very keen to pursue the road safety profession designation when it was first available in 2018. Certification as road safety professional demonstrates that an individual has a good understanding of the road safety specialty. She further wrote that as the manager overseeing the road safety program at the city, it is important to ensure that we attract and retain specialists in the field because road safety encompasses much more than following guidelines and standards when designing a facility or recommending countermeasures to address a safety concern. As such, we have started including the RSP1 designation as a requirement on the job descriptions for many of the positions within the road safety group, especially those responsible for delivering initiatives under our Strategic Road Safety Action Plan. For those in the group who are not yet designated, the city supports training opportunities through individual professional development plans to help staff prepare for and obtain certification. So really, this is a role model that we see here that Krista and the City of Ottawa is really showing to all of us, not only the importance of getting designation as road safety professionals, but also how we as agencies and employers should be, in fact, supporting our professionals in the training opportunities as well as going through the process of obtaining the certification. Now, what would we do to actually get certified? So I think, first of all, as I mentioned before, let's see that we meet the education and professional requirements to take the exam. You submit an application, associate fees. You then, of course, if you are then accepted, you would then go ahead and review the recommended resources and reference materials. I would like to add here that you may consider the online refresher courses available through ITE bookstore, but also TAC. TAC has now the online road safety course that was developed considering the domains of the road safety professional certification 1 plus. I should say plus because there is more than just the reference for the road safe professional 1 is not that it was meant to prepare you specific for any one of the exams, but it definitely gives you a good background and exposure as a refresher course. Consider taking the practice exam, which is available through the IT bookstore. You're now in a position that you will be able to schedule your exam in one of the locations most convenient to you. You then, of course, you write the exam and having your passing score will be able to proudly show that you are now certified, add the letters after your name, update your resume, but don't forget to continue pursuing professional development. I think that all of you being IT members or friends, you may already have heard about the most recent professional development record keeping system, which is really very helpful to all of us to keep all that development that we are doing throughout the years, so that when it comes time to renew your certification, it's really quite easy to get the report and send to TPCB requesting your renewal. Now, I want to really share with you something that brings me absolutely a lot of happiness and pride. Today, only almost 5 years since it was issued, there are 641 professionals certified in level 1 in the United States, and there are 115 of us in Canada, plus 21 all over the world. So it is really phenomenal, and I'm sure the numbers will continue to grow. And hopefully all of you in this Lunch and Learn will feel excited about taking the level 1 and then level 2. When it comes to level 2, there are 120 already certified in the US. Now level 2 has not even 4 years, just under 4 years since it's been offered. And Canada, there are 12. For the behavioral, there are 22 in the United States and 3 in Canada. Excuse me. In December 2021, we decided to plot to see the actual coverage of the road safety professional 1 and 2. And as you can see here, it's really quite broad. There is, I think, in every state in the United States and all provinces, or most provinces in Canada, we have representations of certified professionals. The exams are offered 3 times a year, February, June, and October, and those are the application deadlines. So for the next exam, which is October, there's one in June, but of course it's we have already passed the deadline for application. So next time, if you wish to take the exam in October, your deadline for application will be July 20th. So for the coming up exam, we have 9 candidates in Canada for level 1. For level 2, there are 3. And for infrastructure level 2, there are 2. As I mentioned, the next exam that you can apply for will be October, and your deadline is July 20th. Those are the 5 sites in Alberta that there are certified locations for you to take the exam. So you can choose any one of those that is most convenient for you. And I was just thinking about it's over 2 years ago. Jeff Paniari and I wrote an article in one of the journals, ITE journals, and this is available, and this is the link. This article contains more information if you wish to read more about the road safety professional certification development, implementation, updates. And I would like to just end here with a vision that I have. That professional certification should be a goal for all of us. Those of us who wish to proudly be recognized by our colleagues, clients, and the community we all serve. I would like to add that obtaining the road safety certification shows that you are accredited in road safety discipline, and your experience and qualification are in fact certified and have met the requirements set by TPCB. I would like to leave you with the website of TPCB. So if you want to get there more information, you have my contact email as well as Ann O'Neill at TPCB and her telephone number. So you're welcome to contact her or me for any additional information. And with that, I would like to thank you all very much for your participation and attention to my presentation. I would like to end now and open for questions So I will stop sharing my screen. And
Jeannie, we have one question so far in the chat. Would you like me to read it out for you, or are you able to see it on the Teams message?
if I'm just getting there, okay. Is the one from Karen? Is that the one?
That's right, yes.
Okay, so Karen, you're asking me, one of the eligibility requirements to apply for PTOE certifications, 4 years of professional experience in traffic operation engineering. Can experience in traffic operations attained before obtaining a PING certification be considered towards meeting this required? I would say yes, because while you are working as a, let's say, engineering in training, you are working in the in traffic operations. So I would recommend that if you apply, of course, you enter all those years of experience that you have. It is important that you already have a PING by the time you are applying for the exam. But I think a very much relevant experience in the field will be considered. So hopefully I answered your question.
Thanks,
Jen.
Jeannie. There's another question here. Are there annual dues?
Oh, yes. Well, actually, when you apply for the exam, you will be paying for the exam itself. And then as if being you are approved and you pass the exam, there's going to be an annual due, but it's not annual. You pay for the 3-year certification. I think, Josh, you may actually know the numbers better than I do now. You have just applied, right?
Yes, you're stretching my memory though, because it was about a month ago, so I don't have it top of mind, but I can definitely look it up here while we're chatting.
So I would appreciate, because I don't have them quite now, and I apologize. I should have them and I should know them, but I don't. So I'm going to answer in the meantime. If there is an overlap of PDH in PTO and RSP, would it work? Oh yeah, of course. You can provide PDH if you are, that goes for PTOE, and it will also go for RSP. There shouldn't be a
Awesome.
problem.
And so the exam fee, just for clarification, it's $100 per exam. So for each of the road safety professional examinations, and then the certification fee for RSP1 is $60 per year. So $180 for the 3-year registration, and then for the RSP2 certification, it's $105 per year, so $315. And it is noted, and I'll put a snip of this in the chat, that there's a 10% discount for PTP or PTO, or a 25% discount for both. I'm not sure if you can clarify that maybe just a little bit further, Jeannie, in terms of how those discounts work.
Yes, of course. So for those of you that have PTOE and now applying for PTP and you get it, or RSP, there is actually a discount. So in other words, the more certifications you have, you get discounted when put it all together.
Any other questions from the group here? And great attendance. So I'm hopeful we're going to see lots of our road safety professional certifications here in Calgary. But yeah, any other questions from the audience? Still thinking through. Maybe I'll offer one to you, Jeannie, is, I really appreciated the endorsement quote that you shared from the individual from the city of Ottawa, and, some of the benefits that they've seen. I'm wondering if you have any other endorsements or even stories of folks that you've interacted with who have just seen a real great benefit through the learning and the certification in terms of what they're able to bring into their transportation work.
So I think what is important is, as I mentioned before, first of all, I think for each one of us, the fact that we take the certification and the designation seriously means that we all really getting our growth development very seriously. So this for itself is a very important aspect that I think we all need to recognize. I have actually spoken, I'm sorry. Just getting better after a big bad cold. So apologize. I was actually having this conversation with a colleague of mine on the board, TPCB, and she is in California. And she manages a county traffic and operations and safety branch. And she decided a few years ago that she was going to encourage, and then she demand that her colleagues will all be certified. They assist them in many ways to get their certifications. And from there onwards, she started also by requesting that any one of the consultants answering the RFPs will have at least one or more designated professional, road safety professional. She also then told me about how she felt that the level of competency has grown in the county. Not only from the perspective that now she had her own colleagues or that worked with her and for her, now able to really manage better the projects, be more at par with the consulting team, but also the consulting teams were now in particular coming together and assisting the professionals in getting the certification, which meant that she said to me, I don't need it to anymore ask about the house safety manual. Everybody knew about the house safety manual because by the time they got certified, if they didn't even use it before, they now have read and knew more about the AASHTO house safety manual. So you can see that it is a process. And I think for all of us here, those of us that are in the public agencies, we really have a real important role to play here, which is to encourage all of us in the agency as well as in the private sector. By just the moment you have an RFP out there, we consultants will make sure we have the accredited individuals in our teams. And will certainly empower those that are in the public sector to be able to really manage road safety professionals at a higher level of competency and knowledge. So this is one of the stories. I could go on, but perhaps let's see, are there other questions?
Just a question related to sharing the presentation material. If you're comfortable with that, Jeannie, we can distribute it to the group of participants here.
Clearly, yes, of course, with pleasure. I think we spoke earlier that we're going to have it available, right, on the YouTube for your colleagues to see the presentation.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, and thank you for your willingness to have the recording as well. And I'll just highlight, the benefit that you've emphasized there, I think is really important for us all to think about as transportation practitioners, that safety isn't something that, we put off to the side and one person is responsible for, but collectively we need to really bring that safe systems approach and collaborate between public sector and private sector as we go about all of our transportation projects to really prioritize safety. Absolutely. Which for those who have engineering designations in our province, do have a paramount responsibility to upholding the safety of the public. Correct. So I think a really powerful call to action here, and I do hope that this serves as an invitation for more of us to pursue that certification. And I know I'm looking forward to pursuing mine in October. I'll maybe just open it up one more time here for questions, whether in the chat or if somebody wants to verbally share a question. We do have a few minutes left, so feel free to put up your hand. And if there are no further questions, maybe Jeannie, I'll just invite you to share if there's anything that you didn't cover that you really wanted to make sure folks heard or knew walking away from this session as it relates to the road safety professional designation.
I think an important point, just to continue the line of thought, Josh, that you just had here, is that it doesn't really start and end with us working in traffic engineering or any traffic related field. It really goes all the way to road designers. We really need to invite all those professionals that we work in parallel with and get them more involved. You talked about safe systems. Thinking about safe systems, there is nothing more important than to bring the urban planners with us, to bring all those who work in any aspect of planning. Would be really quite different if we can get it right from the beginning, so that we're gonna be able to really bring the safe system principles up front. The same has, for us working together with those professionals, and they are all candidates to road safety profession designation. You can imagine that I always say if you make a decision anytime during your day, most probably you will affect the road safety or the safety of that location. Could be a transportation system, could be a urban planning decision. Whatever you do, you're going to impact the road safety in the future. So if you're not able to evaluate, assess the impact that you just by that decision of yours will cause. It means that either you need to bring a professional that can help you to evaluate that outcome or get yourself more up, prepared to quantify that impact. So I think that call for not only recognize those of us that can be accredited and designated as road safety professionals, but also to bring more of those that may not realize that they also carry a great responsibility and themselves are not only candidates, but they very much should be proud that they are getting to the process and potentially being certified and more competent in what they are doing on a daily basis.
Such a great point to leave us on there, Jeannie, and so beautifully aligns with ITE's objectives of really building a bigger tent for more transportation practitioners that include those in transportation planning. So thank you for sharing that. I also want to highlight a huge thank you to my fellow executive member Kayla Royce, who did a lot of the heavy lifting and organizing this for us today. So thank you, Kayla. Thank you to the entire executive. It's a really terrific team, and we're really excited about a lot of the upcoming activities and events that we have planned for all of you. Thank you, Jeannie, for joining us today. This was a really terrific presentation, and we are making a donation in your name as it relates to appreciation for your speaking with us today, and we'll send through a certificate of acknowledgement for your participation with the Southern Alberta Institute of Transportation Engineers. So
Very
thank
kind.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and hope folks to see many of you out at our upcoming luncheon with the University of Calgary representatives on May 9th, as well as our tour of the Operations and Control Center and social on May 23rd. Keep an eye out for those emails dedicating or for registration, and thank you all again for coming today.